card collectors, welcome to another edition of WTCtv, and here we are wrapping the year out of 2021 with our monthly recap with Mr. Price Guide Paul. How are you, sir?
Hey, Happy New Year, sir. Nice to see you.
Always good to be seen.
Yeah, you too. Wait, one sec. Hang on. I just want to make sure that Topps hasn't dropped another set. No, we're good.
No, we're good, man. It's a fire sale going on over there.
It's still only the 3 on the month.
That's incredible, isn't it?
So, dude, we had quite the month, for December when things normally get a little bit quieter. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different sets come out this month. We had 3 from Topps. Now, that normally wouldn't happen, and most of our audience knows why we got 3 sets from Topps. Is because they've lost the license and they're not going to be there for too much longer. What we got this month from them was Heritage, and we'll go back and talk about that in a little more detail in a bit. They also put out their flagship. Their flagship is their 2021 product, and their fully loaded set. And the fully loaded and Topps 2021 both came out last week. So I mean, it's pretty crazy to get for that to happen in 1 week, but that's what happened. And we're still expecting, we're still expecting a couple more. We still didn't get the women's division 2021. We still haven't gotten Undisputed. So that's likely to turn up in the next few weeks as well.
Yeah, Undisputed was scheduled for release today. So I've been hearing from people saying that, it's delayed shipping.
Yeah, not surprising. AEW is slated for next week.
And have heard nothing yet, but that was like last time too. We got real close to the release date, and all of a sudden it said
we have a checklist. We have a checklist, but we don't have any resellers or distributors with product in stock, at least not as of yesterday. So we'll find out. But again, don't also be surprised if that gets delayed as well. I don't think it's going to be a major delay, but if it isn't this first week, it'll probably be into the second week of January, or we might be pleasantly surprised and see it on Tuesday like we expect. That's why it's surprising, because with these Topps releases, we knew that they were made. We knew that they were on loading docks. We just didn't know how soon we would get them, and we weren't sure if Topps would do that, if they would actually try, if they would bombard us with all this stuff at once. But they did.
They sure did.
Yeah, it was 2 subsequent days. I mean, I don't want to suggest that they don't care anymore because they've lost the business, but they've obviously made this product, so it's got to get out there.
Yeah, we knew that it existed. Some of these releases were existing anyway. Some little teasers we saw from certain talent signing cards for different releases, so we knew that stuff was coming. It was wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. Yeah,
and that's the thing. We can't say when the last 2 top sets are going to come, but we know that Panini has license starting in February or starting in March when they do the WrestleMania, and it's going to be a Prism set, and we're all looking forward to that. So obviously the top stuff has to be out and in the marketplace by then. So don't be surprised if a couple more things come out very early in January. For we set collectors, it's a bit of a pain in the ass to have to be buying this stuff day after day after day. But hey, that's what we do. So let me just quickly go through all the sets that came out, and then you and I can discuss in a little more detail about each of them. So I mentioned the top stuff. And again, this is stuff that's been made, and they're just trying to get it out before they move on to their thing. So there's the Heritage 2021 and Fully Loaded. Fully Loaded is an elite set where it doesn't have every card is a hit. So it's 1 pack, 1 card, and that card's going to be an autograph, or it's going to be a relic card, or it's going to be some sort of higher end.
It's a definitely cheaper version than it was for 2020 though, because I mean they were selling it directly on their website for $50 and it sold out.
In fact,
I'm seeing on secondary market 65.
Right. Both these boxes this past week were cheaper than usual, and definitely a lot less than Heritage was. Even though Heritage came out this month, Heritage was like Chrome from the month previous. That was very difficult to put together and relatively expensive based on past years, whereas Flagship, the 2021, seemed to be right in line. And I don't do Fully Loaded because I'm a base set collector, and there isn't a base set in Fully Loaded. But I'm curious to see what happens with the women's division and the Undisputed when they come out, how the seating is going to be on them and what the pricing is going to be like. So we had those 3 Topps releases. Then we also had the independent stuff. We had the 4th series of the Impact.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that. And then we had a whack of indie stuff. We talked about that last month, how on Black Friday, all this stuff was announced, but we actually had PPW come out. We had an ICW set come out. We had Wrestling Revolver come out. We had MAW, who you chatted with, the guy that made those cards. That set got released this month. Then we have the major wrestling figures guys. They put out a bunch of figures that have 4 cards in the bendy stuff.
Yep.
And then we have the art stuff as well. Now, Kevin Gus cards, for example, they were probably made before December, but we didn't get ours till then, and we didn't archive them till now, so count them in this month. But quite a lot of product.
Very busy month, and it's
Very busy month.
I'm sure it probably hurt the wallets of a lot of people. Because it's just
It really hurt
starts
the
to add
wallet.
up. It starts to add up. I mean, when you do the indie stuff and you're looking at 25, $30 a pop on those sets like that, that doesn't seem like a lot. But when you have like 7, 8, 9, 10 of them coming out at one time,
No,
it
I
adds
said
up.
that. I said that to you about the impact set, right? So
Yep.
this version that just came out was series 4. So the last 10 cards, because we get 10, 10, 10, and
Yep.
10 to move up the 40 card set.
It finishes the series out.
Correct. And then the last 4 autographs to finish out the 12. But if you do the math, right, to get those 12 autographs, to get those 40 cards, cost you 90 times 4, so $360, which is not cheap. It's not inexpensive for an indie set. Now you're saying, well, you're getting all those autographs. But if you go on a secondary market now and you look on eBay, those autographs are trading for $15, $12, $18. There are a few, like some are going to be more valuable than others, but I put them on a price guide at 25 to 40 because I'm trying to justify the acquisition cost of the 360. Okay, for 360, you get 12 autographs and you get these 40 cards, and I work backwards to come up with some numbers that way. But it's expensive. That's just one release, right?
Yeah.
Then you got the MEW set, then you've got the ICW set. Kevin's cards weren't inexpensive. There was like $100 to get his chase stuff because I ended up buying a demolition signed card and I got another signed one, and it's so beautiful. I mean, it's he makes them so nicely that you can't resist. You got to buy them.
It's so tempting for me to go and to buy that, but I have to be very mindful.
It's a big rabbit hole, Tony. Like I got to say, like when we're talking about, I'm hoping that when we get into the Panini and the AEW era, that they only do 4 releases a year. That it's not, because in between the indie sets and that, it's a fucking lot. It really is.
It is.
It's a lot of product to buy, and it's expensive. And then I got sucked into these heritage variants. So you can imagine what my bill's going to look like at the end of the month.
Well, that's why I do miss collecting in the way I used to collect in a certain level, but my wallet is very appreciative of the fact that I'm a PC collector now. So I'm just a player collector.
I want to get into a little more detail specifically on the heritage set. And the reason why I want to focus on that one is because, first of all, we knew about it back in January or February. When did you buy your boxes for Heritage? You bought them quite some time ago, didn't you?
I did. I bought them early in the year, like that. So when I first heard about it, I saw the design, I jumped all over it with my LCS. So I just I just said, here's what I want, and I was in love with the design because I'm a fan of that design.
And the design is fabulous. And that's what I wanted to highlight about this set, is because we talk about how Topps dropped the ball with the recent releases and how we had a lot of problems with it then and now and too much. I want to go on record and say that this Heritage set is one of the nicest Topps sets ever. I'm a big fan of the 2010 Platinum, but I was very, very keen on this Heritage set. And I'll tell you why, for a few reasons. First of all, the artwork, like you say, it's a throwback to that 90s baseball design, and it's very, very, very cool looking. Second of all, just the configuration of this set is Paul's kind of set. So in other words, you got a base of 100 cards, then you got a chase set of 40, which were Ellen and Ginter. Now, who doesn't like Ellen and Ginter? Some people complain, oh, they're not too small. I don't mind at the regular 2.5 by 3.5. I like those. So the fact that one of the inserts were Ellen Ginter was cool for me. But if you look at the makeup of the set, you've got that insert set, then you've got a standard Superstar Speak sort of cartoony insert set. Then you've got a set of art cards, you got a set of stickers, right? And then you got the variants, and the variants were the real appeal to me. As you know, I've collected all the Fleer insert sets, and that's one of the sort of areas that I specialize in, is that along with the base sets, all the TriStar stuff, all the Fleer stuff, 99% of all the Topps chase sets I have, and I've collected over the years. And for me, I was finding that the Topps stuff was getting very samey. I always go back to the Fleer era because I find that their insert sets are much nicer. I like the design of them. But these image variants in the Heritage were something special. And as soon as I saw them, I'm like, wow, that's cool, because that's something we haven't seen every day. Now, for those people that haven't seen them, I don't have all of them in hand yet. They all are coming. I just want to show them. This is the Shinsuke, and it's not a picture of Shinsuke Nakamura. It's a picture of Shinsuke's crown. Here's Randy the Viper Orton. Here's Otis, because he does the worm. The Sasha card is Moneybanks. The Charlotte card is a peacock.
Roman Reigns is like
Roman Reigns is a bulldog. Zan just got his because he's a bulldog guy. And as soon as I saw these, I'm like, whoa, what are these? Because this is something that we don't see very often. Base variants, excuse me, are nothing out of the ordinary. But right away, these things caught my eye because there was something that were different. And they've done this before in baseball, I believe. I'm not a baseball
Hmm.
guy, but it's not the first time that they've used inanimate objects to represent somebody. But
Nope.
I just thought to myself that, man, these are going to be highly collectible. And they have been. They've been averaging about $100. They're slipping a bit now because the crazy people like us that had to have them have probably all gotten them by now. But I think that this is going to be one of the insert sets that we're going to be talking about down the road.
It's definitely different. I like that they did something different for that. I saw a little
That's what
mixed
it was.
reviews. I saw some mixed reviews when it first hit. People were kind of like, yeah, that's kind of lame, or they're like, oh, that's kind of cool. But from a collectability standpoint, I think it's going to be, it's just fun to have and fun to go
Yeah.
after. And it
Well,
gives
something
you
a
a
little
little bit of a
different.
thrill. It gives you a little bit of a thrill going after something that's not the norm.
Exactly. Exactly. And for me, because I normally buy my stuff in bulk all put together, this was like the old days having to chase this stuff down.
It's living up to the name. It's their chase cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think I sent Gelman a tweet saying I have a newfound respect for what you go through trying to get your hard to find or the competitive Becky's because I had to compete on this stuff. I landed roughly at about $100 a card. Some were more, some were less. And you're going to find that the Charlotte and the Sasha and the Roman are going to hold their $100 value-ish. And some of the lesser ones like the Otis perhaps might, or the Sheamus might be a little less. But by and large, I expect that that's going to be a $100 card plus. Now, some people were suggesting that just wait, they're going to go down to nothing. I don't think so. I hold these out to
Maybe
be
I
one
should
of
go
the,
crack that box I got back there. My LCS gave me a box as a Christmas gift.
yeah, yeah, well, that's the thing. Like if you get a good autograph, that's great. But if you get one of these variants, they're going to be they're going to be desirable for a long time to come, I suspect.
Yeah, I mean the itch to go after that stuff, the old Tony is
Yeah,
it's right there, and I'm like, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
no, because yeah, you're right. Once you get started, like I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And
Yeah,
I bought one.
yeah,
And then you know what happened. I
yeah. He's
said,
like,
well,
well, I've
maybe
got
I'll go.
one. I gotta complete it now. I gotta have
And then
all.
I said to you, you remember when I got the third one and they started going over 100? I said, well, I'm out.
I'm
you
out.
know, and then got a fourth one. And then the next thing you know, and it's like, well, now I have to have them.
Yeah,
And I probably paid more than I should for the last couple. But I'm like, screw it. I just want them now.
I just want him now. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a fun thing for me too. But that certainly hit me in the pocketbook as
Well, I'd
well as
like to
all.
hear from people, anybody listening or watching this. I'd like to hear what your guys' thoughts are about Heritage. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you like most about it? Do you like these parallel cards? So leave those comments. Let's hear about that.
Well, here are some of the negatives that I got back. One guy said to me the one thing that he didn't care about was that the autograph cards were the same as the base cards. So the design was the same and they were just signed.
Okay.
Someone else had pointed out that there was no relics in this set. And if there would have been a relic set, that would have made it complete. Stickers, art cards, relics, these variants and all
Sure.
stuff. But that's about all I've heard that's negative. Everyone else is going on about how great they look.
I find it to be a positive though to have no relics. I mean, how
Yeah.
many times do I have to have a ring mat? How many times do I have to have a
Yeah.
T-shirt?
Yeah, but sometimes, again, back in the Fleer days, I used to collect more of that stuff. Since tops 2014 or so, I've stopped because like you say, the mats are the same. And a lot of times these relic cards are they don't distinguish like this is a piece of shirt from this event. It's just a piece of
Yeah,
black
I mean, I
leather.
went. I've gone a little bit back and went and found this one, so I picked that one up. Fleer
Nice.
days,
You
and
see, that's a nice one because it's multicolor, right?
yeah, it's three
A
color,
multicolor swatch is always going to be more desirable.
and I got it cheap. I couldn't pass
Yeah.
it up. I got it cheap. Love it, and that's why I love that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it's I'm okay with there being no relics, no ring worn gear in this. I mean, it's something different. I think that that parallel stuff only being a 9-card set.
Yeah.
That
Oh, the
obviously helps
variants.
too. Yeah, the variants
Yeah.
making a 9-card set, so it makes it kind of fun. It's not impossible to go after.
It's not impossible. I've done it. I'm aware of another guy that's done it, and I'm sure there's a few more. And I just think it's the kind of thing that when we're talking 10 years from now, we're looking back and I hold up the 9 of these, it's going to be something that, where do you get those? How do you get those? And you're not going to be able to find them anywhere. Because they were, I'm not going to say they were super short printed, but they were definitely SPs. They were one in every 275 packs. So you need to buy somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 boxes.
And those odds are stated on the wrapper?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm aware of quite a few people that open cases and didn't get one. So it's not a guaranteed
Well, that's
case.
something I've also heard. I think Gelman put out an interesting article talking about the correlation of this product, also with the fully loaded too. Both of them seem to have some really questionable seating in the products like that. So you can either have like a the same autograph person throughout a case almost, it seemed like, and others kind of higher end guys all in one case, where another case is just all low end stuff. So that it doesn't seem like the packing was done very
No,
well.
and that's what happens on those 2016 tops I was talking to you about that I just finished that base set of. They came in boxes of 6, and I was speaking to someone this week that had to buy 30 boxes to make the set. And he said that there were so many doubles. Like if you would have bought 10, you probably would have only had a quarter of the set because he kept getting the same ones over and over and over again. And I don't know how that is, like when you do the collations and it gets distributed across North America, how that works. But certainly sometimes it's better than others. So,
it's
that would be
very reminiscent of 80s, 70s and 80s Topps product, which was really horrible collation back then too. Yeah. It's like, well, it could be worse. It could be Monty Gum. So
yeah, true.
could be Monty
So
Gum.
lots of stuff this past month. Big stuff anticipated. Well, obviously AEW expected for January, and then Panini takes over. We'll be talking about these last couple of Topps releases as they come out, and once we're done with women's division and Undisputed, bye Topps.
Yeah. Speaking of, I know we have our show notes for today, but it's not on our show notes. Wrapping up this month too with Living Set that wrapped up.
Right, correct. And yeah, so we're
the last two, I had someone who tipped me off beginning of the month, letting me know what the last 4 cards were going to be.
And you're absolutely correct on that. The Shawn Michaels Triple H got announced this week, and that's it.
Yep, and that's it. It's done.
And I think Chuck sent me the Topps Now, and he says, I suspect that we haven't seen anything September. That Topps Now is done as well. So it's slowly winding itself down. And
yeah. I mean, we're dumping a lot of product. We're having like a fire sale, it seems like, and everything coming out. Almost seems like weekly now. We got stuff, 1 to 2 releases coming out. Living Set kind of, it's fizzled out at what, 96 cards?
96.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
I do like the last those Christmas ones. That Foley card in particular, I think, is going to hold up as an iconic card because he's the Santa of the WWE. Yeah, sure. That has a Coca-Cola kind of look to it. It's a very cool. That one caught my eye as being a better than average card for the set. But on the whole, thumbs down to Living Set. One, how badly they cocked it up sort of midway with the releases when they screwed up the Romans and then they missed numbers and things.
Well, they got new writers going forward from the second half of it. So it
got better. It got better. The other thing is that honestly, some of the images, some of the artwork just didn't appeal to me. I thought, some of the pictures were weird. I just didn't like them.
I didn't go out and buy any of that stuff. I actually did a trade deal with someone. Actually, I traded a trade deal with one of the writers who wrote the backs of those cards. So he needed some stuff that I sent him from the from Chrome. So I only have these 8 cards that he traded me. So I got Heenan and I got Razor Ramon, AJ Styles, almost Seth Rollins. I got the Becky Lynch one.
That's quite a nice one. Some of them though, I just found, the Miss America one. There was a bunch of them that they just look weird. I don't recall which ones off the top of my head now they asked me, but on the whole, and again, like I didn't really have to do a lot of collecting on these. God bless Chuck, he would buy 2 every time out. And it was for me to have to deal with Topps on a weekly basis and then have it shipped up here. There's just no way.
Yeah. It makes sense to do what you were doing with Chucksters like that. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and he doesn't mind, and it's a great help. And I would rather get 1 box like you got the 8. I think the last time he sent me like 30 of them or something like that. And,
I just, for me, I like the concept of the Living Set. I thought it was a cool idea. Obviously, some of the artwork was questionable, I guess. But the concept of having a Living Set was great. If I was a collector like I used to be, would have been a no-brainer for me to go ahead and subscribe like Chuckster did for a whole year. Yeah. Although I don't like the way they just discontinued people without even telling them. They just cut their service off and said your service has been canceled, so you have to fetch for yourself for the last.
Yeah, that happened as well.
That didn't seem well. So that's kind of a poor customer service in that part. But yeah, it's come to an end. 96 cards, odd number. You think they probably would have tried to cram out a few more to make it a 100 card set or something.
Let me ask you this, because on Price Guide, I didn't really do nothing price wise. I put them at 10 and 15, which I never adjusted any of them. I might have bumped the Roman era card, but I think we're at the stage now where I should start getting a little more detailed and maybe ranking some of them higher and some of them lower. I mean, not every single card is going to be a $10 card.
No.
But it seemed that number is held. If you go onto eBay and you look at the Living Set, my $10 to $15 is still right. But do you think it's necessary to go and break it out further and maybe value up the Mr. America? And
I think the ones that
low print runs,
low print runs don't necessarily mean it's going to be a higher value. I mean, no,
Yeah,
I mean, that means
could
low,
be
low print runs typically mean
could go
because
either
there's
way.
less interest.
Exactly.
So,
There's less
but
of them around, so they should be more valuable, but they're not because people didn't
nobody
want them.
cared. Nobody cared
Right.
to begin with. So why would they want them now? The only time they're going to have any value is if someone, 5 years down the road said, you know what, I got to complete my set, and I know it's only like 400 of these that exist, so I got to go out there and find it, and someone's going to try to, price gouge them. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't hurt. I mean, as well as I do, running sites that we have is very difficult to do because there's so much to cover. You can't cover everything in a timely manner. So it's always an ongoing update. But yeah, I think going over time, I think you probably should go through and make some adjustments to some of the
It's
key.
hard. I got an email the other day of some guy right pissed off at me because the number was wrong. One card, one line on the price guy is like, oh, you're way low on this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I am, buddy.
That's why it's called a guide, sir. It's
you
just
know,
to help
and
you. It's help to guide you.
if this was all I did, then maybe I could get to it and actually do some research and correct. But I still got a lot of grim prices that from the original book that
Yeah.
are on the site. And we've had a pandemic that boosted sales 10 times and brought them back down 40% less than that. So, I'm glad I didn't boost them during pandemic times because now I'd have to go back and readjust them lower. So you're right. It's a guide. I'm not making excuses. I mean, I'm trying to, I try to make the information as correct as we can.
Yeah, and over time you'll make those adjustments. It took you a long time to make adjustments to the All-Star set, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I mean, that drastically changed, and we're not going to be seeing going back to the levels that your old guide used to have.
No. So anyways, you want to talk about some pricing now?
Let's do some pricing, man.
Okay, well, let's look at the index because that's been a thing we've had some fun with, looking at how prices have sort of gone month to month, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months of data now. And
I was this was a very interesting when you sent this to me. I looked it over and getting ready to go out and do something with the family here. And then I was like, I got a little bit of time to kill here. Let me check this out. Let me check out his spreadsheet. I was kind of blown away by some of this stuff.
Well, let's go to the first one. It's interesting because the one thing we can tell is that this is working to a point that we can see that prices are coalescing for certain things, and they have done here. But the point of this is to see how it goes up and down over a month. The one that we always start with is the Hulk Hogan 1985 tops, and that has been consistently about a $50 card. And this month it's $47.25. So
it's a $20 price drop from last month.
It is a $20 price, but if you look at it, it was like 41, then 28, then 51, then 49, then 48. So you can see it floating around that 50 range. One month to the next, two or three higher low sales are going to skew that number.
Sure.
But in my opinion, that card's a $50 card, and we land at $47.25. So we're right in line. The set that you're cranking out of your storage room, the 1991 Impel base set, that has consistently been a $15 set for us over these last years, and it landed a little bit higher at 1765, but still right in line. Now, here's something that you're going to find very interesting. Sort of side note. I'm going to little trivia for you. Last week I was checking out Star Trek because we know Star Wars makes cards and there's tons of non-sport, and I was just looking to see how Star Trek as a sort of as a franchise was doing in cards, and there's tons and tons and tons of those cards, just like there are Star Wars, just like there are wrestling. And I found something very interesting that you're going to love. The average set, it's like wrestling. You get your higher end National Treasure kind of sets that are going to be $100 sets. But the average on a Star Trek set is around $20 to $25, except for one. There's one that always trades for $5, $6, and you can get it where, there's never a problem getting it. I'm going to give you one guess as to what year that came out and who the manufacturer was.
I want to say 90s and say Skybox.
How about 1991 and Impel?
Impel. Okay. Well,
which is why I broke off into that story.
Yes.
I didn't know that you were doing Star Trek stuff in your storage room as well. But yeah, for anybody that wants a laugh, go and they're kind of shitty looking too. I looked at the first card and I'm like, oh, what a horrible card. 1991 Impels, and they're way cheaper than everyone else. So
wow.
so our people in the wrestling card hobby know that they're in other worlds as well.
Wow. I completely forgot they made, and I should know that because I actually have some chase cards, some like hologram cards that Impel did for Star Trek stuff. that I just somehow acquired over the years in non-sport stuff, because I was heavily in non-sports for a long time,
Right.
which I branched out from wrestling, and so I got into all kinds of different things. And so when I was buying collections, that I would get like promo cards and chase cards and all kinds of oddball stuff inside there. And I just remember getting some stuff from Skybox or I mean, I remember Impel. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. You know, they haven't watered down only our hobby. There you go. They're up to their tricks in other brands as well.
That's great.
What else we got? We got the comic images Stone Cold, and we chose that one because it's a fairly regular card that keep coming up, and that's roughly for the 6 months been a $10 card, and we slipped to 872 on that. So it's or 822, no 872. So it's right in line with that, down a little bit from the month previous. Then the next one is the Fleer set that we look at every month, and that's the Fleer 2002 Royal Rumble, the one with the 4 rookies, and we talk about that set.
It's an all-time high now for average.
Yeah, we're at 205, and that's been around a $200 set. We've seen it at 195, we've seen it at 192, we've seen it down to 180, but this is the highest that we've seen it yet. So it's not a stretch to say that that's a $200 set.
No, we've always, every month we come back at this and we say this is a, I think when we started doing this, like, it's a $175 to $200 set, somewhere in that range like that. But I think we pretty much, with your information that you've done over the last 7 months, we can safely say that this is about a $200 set.
Yeah, I mean, we've got enough single sales averaged out over month on month to say, you know, that this is what they're worth. And this is the kind of thing where, you know, when you go onto eBay, they'll tell you the last sale. But these numbers, if I say, well, that 85 Hogan Raw is a $50 set, I've got 80 sales to back that up, you know. So what we're doing does give us some concrete information, you know, to say that the Fleers are 200, that the Hogan is 50, you know. Yeah, there it is. You can see some of the numbers there. It's very handy. Yeah. That gives our viewers an idea of what it is, these numbers we keep talking about every month, where we're getting them from, and you can see how we take averages for each one. And then the last one is the Charlotte Flair autograph from Undisputed 2020. And that was holding pretty consistent month after month. And it saw a bit of a bump as well. It was roughly a $35 card, but it went up to 54 this month.
Yeah.
So I don't know, you know, the reason for that, if it's, you know.
Well, I'm also noticing, by the way, from the data that you've collected, so I'm also noting that there's been less and less sales of her.
Yeah, if you notice, if you look down the corners, you know, yeah, you're right where you are there was only 4 sales this month, whereas if you go back a couple of months, we've got the 9. And that's what I was trying to get, because if you get 9 sales in a month, you can average them out and you can get a pretty good idea of what they are, right?
Yeah, and it was because when we had more of them available, you saw that average being around that $35 price point. Now that we're seeing less and less listings for this card, maybe collectors are starting to say, hey, this is starting to dry up, I should start, you know, picking this up now.
Right. And it's going to be interesting to see how these numbers fare during what we'll call the new era of AEW, the new era of Panini. How's that going to adversely or positively affect? This is all top stuff, not all top stuff.
I think it'd be nice to either flop one of these out or add one more listing starting in the new year with AEW.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll start monitoring that first release, and we'll keep coming back to it to see how subsequent releases are faring to it.
And I think we should, we're going to monitor base sets for that. I think we should monitor it because, I mean, we know that the autographs are going to be probably very desirable depending on what level you're able to pull, because it's going to be so hard to, you know, to get those. The seating is so outrageous on that. And I'm not overly concerned about the chase like that. I like to know what as a base set, how that seems to go throughout the year.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea. So we'll be on that. And, but this has been a neat little experiment, sort of going through these different cards and averaging them out and coming up with some sort of story, if you will, for where we're at with these things.
I love it.
We'll definitely carry on with the index in the new year, and we'll also continue to do every month our top wrestling card sales. And I should also mention something about this. I also got an email last month saying, hey, you missed one last month. And it's like, yes, when I do these, it's not necessarily every single high end. It's certain ones that caught my eye that are worthy of discussion. So if I miss something out, if I miss something on a month, I apologize. I'm trying to be as complete as I can, but I added a few more for this month, and we'll start at the top and we'll go down and we'll chat about these. The biggest sale for the month of December, if you recall, last month it was the Vince McMahon Superfractor, which went for $9,000.
Yep.
Well, this month it was a Hogan PSA 8 of the All-Stars. And we've said this before, an All-Star graded Hogan is usually going to be our top sale of the month. And there usually is one every month. And this went for $7,877. So almost $8,000
Wow.
on a PSA 8. So, it shows you how valuable these Hogan's cards are. I was talking to someone the other day that said, who's the number one name? And I said, we have this discussion. It's got to be Hogan, because
Yeah.
he gets the most money consistently.
Yep.
In WCW autographs and the All-Stars, that's the card, that's the money card. So, in trading cards, I mean, Rock, yes, even his football card, but Hogan is the man when it comes to this stuff.
There's an interesting listing that just went up, by the way, for a listing of that Bumblebee, Dwayne
I saw
Johnson.
that.
Yeah,
What was the price on that?
autographed.
Yeah, I saw. What was the price on that?
It hasn't, I don't think it's even started it's an auction. It hasn't even gone up yet. I think it's just advertised as coming in this lot, this new catalog coming up, I think.
But we're past the days of 6 figures on a card like that, right? Like it
hasn't hit 6 figures yet.
No, I don't think it will. I don't think.
The highest it's gone is, 90,000.
And that was right at the height. Like
that was the height. Yep. That was a PSA 10.
Everything, no matter what, right?
But this is an autograph one.
Take a wild guess. Again, I don't know football cards. 20.
I'm going to say 45 to 50K.
Really? Huh? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
autograph.
Right it's an autograph.
Yeah.
It's not just.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that that's not right. I don't know.
I mean, the last one was not. I believe the one that sold for $90,000 was not an autograph one. It was just plain PSA 10.
It's not a PSA 9 or 10. It's another grading company, isn't it?
No, it's PSA, but it's PSA DNA authenticated as autograph.
But it's not like a 10. They don't put a number.
I don't think so. I don't think there's a number on it. If I don't remember it correctly. Right. If I remember correctly, but it'd be interesting to see. I'm following it. I've got.
Yeah. So make a note so we can talk about that next month as to what it gets, because that will be the biggest sale. You and I both agree it's not a wrestling card.
It's not a wrestling card, but it's just interesting to note that
it's on the periphery, so we chat about it. I mean, The Rock is The Rock, and we love him, and he's such a big part of our hobby that because it's him, we talk about it. But that'll be interesting to see. Number 2 on the list was a 2021 Transcendent Superfractor of Triple H that went for $4,500. So that gives you an idea that Vince is worth, that Triple H is worth half of what his father-in-law is.
As it should be. Come on, Vince is Vince, man. I mean,
Vince is Vince.
That's right.
2021 Goldberg Transcendent GPK art card. We talked about these last month. These 1-of-1 Garbage Pail Kid art cards that they put into the Transcendent release.
And we got 3 of those on the list this month.
3 of those, yeah. We got the Goldberg at 37.25. We got the Finn Balor at 2,800, and what was the third one?
New Day.
And New Day, correct. At 26.25. 26.25 for a New Day card, guys. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 1-of-1 GPK art. I mean, it's such a cool set. It's such a cool thing they did for that Transcendent. And
so my question is this: is that we say that Rock card is a football card. Well, does that mean is this still a wrestling card?
It's it projects a wrestler on it in the wrestling gimmick.
And the GPK cards, are they wrestling cards or are they Garbage Pail Kid cards?
I mean, it's a hybrid, as opposed to being like that football card is just a football card of a person who eventually became a wrestler.
Right. Whereas the art card is a wrestler being drawn as a football player.
Correct.
Or as whatever they're being drawn as. So
yes. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I find these to be way more in the wrestling side than the football card.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. Me too. Well, it's like when the Rock sticker came out, I was the first one to say, guys, it's a sticker. But I was the only one that was saying that at the time. And I had to bite the bullet and say, when Golden said he made the famous tweet that stickers are cards, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat, man.
Yeah, man. And like you say, I put a calendar up. And then I started, remember we were talking about maybe I should start doing other collectibles, but I got off that idea pretty quickly. I realized, you know what? I know wrestling. I enjoy wrestling. Let me just stick with wrestling.
Yeah, because if you bite off more than you can chew, man, it can really drain. Exactly. And I've done that. Yeah, that's what ComCollect was in the beginning. It was supposed to be an online price guide for non-sport stuff, and I bit off way more than I can chew.
Well, I put out that calendar, and then all of a sudden, I got a lot of people asking about the calendar. And I'm like, oh wow, would people be interested in seeing stuff like this? Then all of a sudden, somebody finds a box with like 100 of these calendars in the box. So I had to go back in and quickly change the price from $100 down to $40, and it'll be back down to $25. And I'm like, well, there you go. If I didn't post that, would this box of calendars have been found?
Crazy about the timing, isn't it?
You gotta wonder. You gotta wonder.
Crazy.
So, anyways, so we talked about that. Here's one for you. The fourth highest was a 1982 Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan Cosmos Japan. So both of them, and they traded for 3,400. Now we figure
Was that a 2-card lot or just
it
individual?
was a 2-card lot, and it was
Okay.
both of them. It was the Flair and the Hogan, both raw. Now, what do we figure a raw Hogan is there? Maybe 2,500 for the raw Hogan. I mean, when we get into
I've seen a few of them. As you know, this has kind of been something up my alley as of late.
sure, because you have the graded one.
And then, well, I don't
For
have
those
them
that don't
anymore. I
know,
don't have them anymore.
did you sell it?
It's
Is it sold?
it's on its way to be sold.
Right, but I know you're doing it with an auction house, but it hasn't sold
Yes.
yet.
No, it
So
hasn't. It won't.
that's going to be a big story for us when that happens. Your Tony's 9. Tony got his Cosmos Hulk Hogan graded at a 9, which is fantastic. There was only one other, I believe.
Yeah, only one. Peck has the other one.
Yeah, David has the other one. It was, so the two of you guys are sitting pretty on those, I suspect.
Yeah, but I've seen multiples of both the Flair and Hogan in Raw, and they're all coming out of Japan.
Yeah.
And I've seen them across the board anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 for a Raw card.
Right. So 3,400 for the both.
Mm-hmm.
Does that strike you as low, or is that okay?
Strikes me as something that's on par with the average for a Raw card.
Right.
It depends on which ones you're looking at, because there's seems to be a regular seller from Japan who uses the same templates and everything like that, and puts them up there, and they're showing you a front and a back. That's pretty much all they're really showing you. So you zoom in on it, you can see the condition on those, and you're like, okay, yeah, Raw, these probably won't even get more than a 4 or 5 grade, probably.
Right. So you're very lucky to get the grade that you did then.
I was lucky. I just been sitting in the storage unit for all these years.
Well, fingers crossed, brother. I hope you get a big number.
Me too. Thanks.
Yeah, because I know that you're going to use that towards your new store in the new year.
May 1st.
May 1st. So we actually have a date.
That's the date. That's my target date for opening, May 1st.
Do you have premises yet? Have space?
No. Finding actual locations doesn't seem to be the really difficult part for me, because there's so much empty spots out here that I could pick and choose from. It's going to be difficult is negotiating with these landlords and leases, because they still seem to think that their property is at the same value as it was before pandemic.
Yeah. I have this conversation. This conversation daily with people, trying to set it straight to them that look.
And I definitely want, when we're done here, I definitely want to talk to you. Thank you for reminding me. I want to talk to you about a little bit that, and get some pointers from you on that, because I'm having a hard time negotiating with people who just they live in this world that I'd rather have empty lots, and I don't get it. So
yeah, I've never understood that attitude that you're going to leave something empty for a year, to save $200 a month, but whatever.
Yeah. So.
It's people that have the space that was given to them. They didn't have to go out every day and pay the price and work for it. Their grandfather left it to them, and that's why they have that attitude.
We'll talk more about it afterwards. So
anyway, to carry on with wrestling and cards, we had Dusty Rhodes All-Stars, a PSA 9, 2888, almost $3,000 for a Dusty.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Here's one, 1978 Ric Flair Wrestling Annual. That's the Victory Sports Series, the black and white paper cards. So someone cut out one of those paper cards, got Ric Flair to sign it, got it graded a 10 from PSA, and got 2605. So, it worked out.
I have these books, I have these magazines, and I just like to leave them where they are, just because I don't trust myself. I've never done it before, so I would never go and cut those up. I just can't see doing it.
Well, what you need is one of these. One of these movies.
Oh, for those things.
Yeah, one of these. You can't see it, but one of these.
Okay. Yeah, I have one of those, but even still, I don't know. It scares me.
Yeah, you know what? I have the 85s magazine ones, and I bought them cut, but I've seen them in the magazine, and I'd rather have the magazine and display them that way than, because the guy who cut them did an okay job, but not a great job. And again, for me, it doesn't matter. They're not going off to be graded and not being sold. But I want them to look nice,
Yeah, I don't have any that are uncut. I have a couple of, of probably each magazine card. I have a couple of each that I've just been sitting in a binder for ever and a half.
For the collectors out there, all that stuff is hugely rare. Those magazines themselves, the 78 one, the stuff with the first Hogan, the stuff with the Andre. But you can go out, you can buy these paper magazines, you can cut out these black and white images, you can put them in a slab, and you can get almost $3,000 for it. So that's what's going on there.
Yep.
2021, Mr. McMahon Transcendent Auto 1 of 5, $2,500. We know that the 1 of 1 is worth almost $10,000, so that would seem right, probably. Roman Reigns Transcendent Autograph 1 of 1, $2,200. What's your thoughts on that?
The
Roman's been coming up. Like his autos weren't that expensive 3 years ago, but certainly with the run that he's had in his past year, I've seen the value of his collectibles come up, but not at a crazy high level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's starting to make that rise, and it's nice to see that something modern is starting to hit these kind of prices. It makes you want to think about, what you're investing in when it comes to modern stuff now, where it's going to be at in 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now.
Exactly.
And it's nice to see that. It's nice to see we have some new talent, but it's only a couple. It's not a whole lot. I mean, it's Roman. Who else? Alexa.
Alexa's big. Thanks for putting this up so people could see what we're reading off of every month. This is what we prepare. JYD All Stars PSA 9, 14 and a quarter. That's pretty good for JY Junkyard Dog. Charlotte Fair Chrome 5-timers auto, 1 of 1, 1375.
I'm a little shocked at that Stone Cold, that Stephen Austin Chromie card.
That's high, isn't it? That's pretty good, because isn't the set only worth like $1,500-$1,600?
I mean, yeah, I sold one. I sold a set for, I think, $1,150.
Yeah, so for just a one-off ungraded raw Steve Austin card, that's pretty good, I think.
I thought it was around a $2,000-$3,000 card. It used to be anyway, so I guess it's
Oh, really? Was it that high at one point?
It's come down considerably.
I've never seen it that high, but I've never looked really. So
because I had a couple sets, and so I just I sold one, and then I'm sitting on one for now.
And the last one I noticed was Raquel Gonzalez. She's the NXT champion, a Chrome Auto Superfractor, 1 of 1, 1250. And again, I'm usually highlighting the stuff that's going from more than a grand, just so that people are seeing what's going on at the top of the market. There's tons and tons and tons of cards that are in the 800-900 range. If you get an Alexa sign, if you get a Charlotte sign, if you get a Sasha sign, and they're high parallel, you're going to start creeping up into the $500 to $1,000 range. But these are the ones I'm interested in. The WCW autographs, which we didn't have any of this month. Obviously, the All-Stars.
Boy, that's really quieted down, hasn't it?
Well, there just wasn't one from this month. When the next Savage comes up or the next Elizabeth comes up, it's still going to get a big number. They're not going anywhere.
It's it just seemed like there was more of them because of the craze for a while. There was unloading stuff. So when you had we had the Jamie Wallace out there going out there collecting it. So I mean, I think that he sort of single-handedly helped create that buzz too, because of his because of his obsession. Him and Wes, their obsession of completing the set really created a buzz. And now that they're completed, we don't see a lot more. We don't hear a lot about it anymore.
Well, and we were talking about it then quite a bit, and we were also at that point we were remarking on the new ones that were coming out, the Michael and talking about the Enos and that kind of stuff. But they're not going anywhere value wise, or they're going to continue to come up and they're going to continue to trade. And what'll happen is the next Jamie Wallace will come around that wants them, and he'll start that process again. And Jamie himself is chasing down the Heritage autos now, and a few different things he's going after.
He's looking for mostly on-card stuff, which is great. I don't know if he has them yet or not, but that Fleer Championship Clash would be a nice one to go after too.
Right. I'm so glad I collected all that stuff then, because it's expensive now. It's very expensive now. Just chasing down these Heritage.
I do feel bad that, and I hope he didn't do it. I should reach out to him and find out. But he had tweeted about getting ready to crack open a Raw's War Box, hoping to pull an Undertaker autograph. I go, don't do it. It's done by redemption.
Right. That's right. And I just saw one of those trade for like 300 and something, fairly low for an Undertaker Raw's War. I was surprised.
Yeah.
When I saw them, I'm like, shit, I might have paid that. That's one of the big holes. Jamie picked up a Owen Hart comic images, and that's the one from that set I don't have. And the Undertaker Always War is another one. So those are two glaring holes on the wall. But I just can't spend thousands of dollars for one card.
You'll eventually, it'll fall into your lap eventually somehow.
Hopefully, and if it doesn't, that's fine. I've seen it often enough, anyways.
I feel like I own it by how many images I've seen.
Right. So that's all I got for that. Anything else, sir?
No, pretty good. It's pretty good. It was like I said, a very busy month for December, which is a little unusual, I think, in the hobby. I don't recall previous years of it being that busy, but of course, we live in a time now where it's a little bit different, where we have one company losing a license, someone else picking it up, a brand new license coming out for a brand new company, relatively new company
phase that we're in now.
And then independents weren't what they were 3, 4, or 5 years ago. So now everybody's putting something out, which is very cool.
And I should mention for our audience, I'm going to be putting out my first set with the local indie guys up here.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, we have a thing up here called Greektown Wrestling. It's been going for, Dave's had it going now for 5, 6, 7 years, and it's been great. So entertaining, so much fun. Literally 30 seconds around the corner from my house in the church basement, so it's fantastic. And I approached him. I said, "Boys, where are your cards?" And I said, "I know someone that could help you with that." And the other day, I had them up here to see my collection, and they were like, "No idea."
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I did an interview with a guy from MAW, like that, talking about cards, and he knew nothing about that, and just got the idea to do it, and here it was. It became a big success for him. It's a small little 7-card set, and every independent company out there is putting out some card sets, it seems like, and I think it's a great thing. One, for collectors who collect that kind of stuff, obviously. Two, it's just a very cheap and cool way to advertise your product.
Yeah, and what it does is it puts you in the record. There's now history. Your baseball cap you're wearing and your T-shirt, you won't have in 50 years.
Nope.
But your WTC card, you will have in 50 years, or someone will. And that's what I was trying to explain to these guys is like, guys, you sell your merch, and they do it just like everyone else does it at their shows, and guys sign shit and all that stuff. And their audience, their captive market is the people that come to the shows. I said, guys, now pivot your thinking. Now you're going to be selling into the wrestling card market, and I'm going to buy your set, and Armand's going to buy your set, and Chuck's going to buy your set, and Nick's going to buy your set, and 30 other guys, and Matt, and all these guys are going to buy your set because it's an independent wrestling set. They don't care that it's Greektown or it's you guys. They care that it's,
they don't care. They even know who the people are.
Right. I said, and you're going to do that in Europe, and you're going to do that in India. And they were like, really? I said, yeah. So I need you to start thinking about your merchandising now on a global level. And they were looking at their logo and stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to it. I've never been involved on that side of it, like sort of executively producing a set with someone else, but it'll be fun. And the guys that are making it are no strangers. It's Chris Smith and the GCW guys that are going to make the cards for us.
That's awesome.
We've got the right people. So it's going to be fun. And I'll talk more about that. And obviously when I can hold up the first prototype, I'll do that as well. But anything to help the boys up here. They do such a good job. And
that's great.
I love it. You know that our thing got canceled. The Eric Young match with my buddy got canceled because of COVID. And I don't know what it's like in North America where you guys are, but it's bad up here in Toronto again. It's like 1 in 3 people are sick. So let's hope for the best on that.
Yeah, I do. I hope that I don't want to get back to lockdown phase.
No, let's hope not. Let's hope that we understand that this is something now that, we're not going to get rid of COVID. We're going to have to learn how to live with it, like we did flus and everything else. And chances are better than average. We're all going to get sick eventually. So let's start thinking about life that way, going back to normal with it, like we do flus and stuff.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
but the pandemic was good for one thing. It certainly helped the wrestling card business.
It sure did. Well, it helped every business like that, and wrestling cards rode that coattail as well. So it's definitely a fun market now. I'm glad we came back when we came back.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine trying to catch up now.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
well, look at your list for 2021. How many lines are there? Like 40, 50.
There's a ton. I mean, it's got to be the busiest year ever. I think that when it came to releases, it has to be.
2020 was pretty crazy, as was 2019.
I looked at those, and I still think 2021 might be.
Year, huh?
I think we might have more. It's an interesting fun fact. I should go and check it out. Anybody else want to go and watching this, listen to this, and go back and correct it, because I probably will forget when we get done recording. But it seems like it's been a pretty busy year.
Go back and count. A lot of the people that go onto my site like to go onto the master set list and just scroll through to see the different steps. Not necessarily go into them and look at the flip throughs or look at prices or anything, but just to see all the different ones. So you get a sense by doing that. Oh shit, there was a ton of them in 2018, but very few in 2002 or what have you. So
I'm trying to pace myself out because thankfully I have you and Chuckster and Armand, fielding information when it comes to checklists and stuff. But knowing that I'm kind of doing this on the back end solo, it can be a bit overwhelming, and so just trying to get it all done. So like you've been telling me before, just take it one day at a time, do a little bit every time when you can, and that's kind of what I do. I mean, more me being a completist, I want to get all of it done like right away. Like I want to get all the,
You're like me.
But it's just
you like stuff to be done fast and right.
I want to be done fast and right, and I hate when I go back and go, oh, I think of a new way to add to the checklist, and I got to go back and redo all the old checklists I did like that to have this one little tiny line, kind of thing. Or
but it's good. Like for example, on Cardorna's set, when you listed it, you named it something a little different than what I did, and then I went and checked. I'm like, yeah, Tony's right. Where did I get this from? And I went and I changed. I think I called it Major Pod something. And
I just took it right off the actual package.
But I looked at that and I'm like, oh, Tony pulled it off the actual card, and he's right. You know what I mean? So that is really good for me, having you back,
Yeah.
because 5 years it was just me, right?
Yeah.
And Chuck was out there helping, but whatever sort of I decided, that's what it was, so it's kind of nice now to have you to keep me in check and vice versa,
And vice
obviously.
versa. Yeah, because I refer to
So,
your
so
site a
that,
lot to make
yeah,
sure, like, am I wording this
well,
right?
so
Do I
that,
have the card numbers right? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like I mentioned to you on that fully loaded, I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. I'm like, why is Tony missing 2020 fully loaded? That's a pretty big set. And you said, oh, I've got it in 2021 because it came out then. I'm like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, put it in 2020. And you're like, yeah.
You're right. And I did. I
Yeah.
put it back into 2020. So it's just in the notation section, it says that came out in 2021. But speaking of the information section, that's something else I'm still trying to mull over. I mean, I don't even want to get into it. I have so much stuff that I have to do for the site, and there's just so many
It's
things
good
and
though.
corrections and add-ons and cleanups and things of that nature. And,
But
I'm
just
using.
compare it to a year ago or even 6 months ago, like when you
Yeah.
first
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of came back to where it is now. Like now you're starting to get flip throughs on there. Now you've got the, you're starting to get the odd image. You put that Card Life thing you're on. And if no one's ever watched that, Tony was on Card Life talking about the wrestling trading card hobby in a video that went all around North America.
Oh, it was televised from coast to coast. I was really
Yeah.
honored to be on that for that came out in November, but I actually forgot about it, and I thought it was going to come out on YouTube until January. But if anybody wants to go check that out,
Yeah, it's cool.
WTC did a little spot on there for the Card Life TV. It's on there on YouTube, and it was fun. It was fun. I like the guys. They reached out, and I said, yeah, absolutely. Then my local card shop, they yeah, you can use my store for a home base to do the interview. I said, great.
Perfect.
It's all worked out great. But this last month, a quick little shout out to the I can't remember the guy's name, wearing the WTC shirt on an AEW.
Oh yeah. You know who that is? You don't know who that is?
Yes, I'll get you information on who that is right now. It's like that. He actually reached out and said, hey, that's me. And I go, that's great. So I'm actually looking to get him on an episode, actually, so to talk about.
Yeah, thumbs up. Give me his name.
Yeah, his name is, come on, phone, load up quick. That ain't him. Joey Charles? The Joey Charles.
Well, Joey, thank you. It's great that you wore that shirt to a wrestling event, because that speaks volumes for other wrestling fans to see the WTC logo and what's that, and get them into their card world.
Yeah, it's all about branding, man. And so I was shocked to see that, and I was like, I was sitting up in the, where was I? I think we were up in the cabin for my wife's birthday, and I saw it. I go, check this out. She goes, that's so cool. I go, that's amazing. Isn't that just? I mean, just cool. It was. It's just awesome. So, and I know that we have plans for similar things, coming up throughout the year, I hope, and continue to keep making the world know and appreciate wrestling cards. And
well, we'll definitely be back every month, sort of doing this wrap up, talking about what happened release wise. We'll try, and we talked about making them a little shorter so we don't bore the crap out of people.
Which we didn't do too well today. We didn't make them short today, but we.
No, I'm not looking at the time, but we should try and stay like to the 45-minute kind of thing. I know personally, when I watch these things, after about half an hour, I start to get fidgety. Like it's very rare that I can hang. If it's Chuck or something, I'll stay to the bitter end. But if it's like even the Card Foundation, they go long, and I very rarely make it to the end. Just there's only so many.
And I don't really watch or listen to anything really unless somebody says, hey, that WTC was mentioned, or you should really listen to this, or someone recommends. I've never been a podcast guy to listen to things, so I'm trying to. That's something for the new year.
Yeah,
I want to be more. At least have something playing in the background while I'm working, so I can listen to things and kind of absorb.
Listen to those when they're driving, but I need my tool at full blast when I drive.
Yeah, but I don't drive anywhere. Both my wife and I work at home, and I don't go anywhere other than down to Target to go pick up some groceries or something like that, or pick up my groceries at the pickup at Fry's, whatever. But I got to be better at that. Really start to absorb more content to educate myself and become a little bit more understanding of what the world's going on with this hobby. Because there's just so much going on and so much happening so quickly that if like Ferris Bueller says, man, if you don't stop looking around once in a while, you can miss out.
Yeah, no, you don't want to take your foot off the gas. But you know what? I think that you and Zan, I say it often enough. You guys have done a great job this past year. I mean, it's a lot. You guys put out a podcast every week. You were pretty much every week on your show. Zan's always got stuff going on.
That's going to change. For WTCtv, it's going to change. I think other than having what you and I do on a monthly basis, it'll probably be every other week, if not just having these once a month.
Which I honestly think it's fine. Like I've often been concerned that maybe we're going on a bit too much.
That maybe burning ourselves out. Like
not only for ourselves, but just for the community. Like there's going to be some overlap between all the
Absolutely.
shows and all the work. And there's no problem with that. If I happen to mention something that someone else mentioned, that's cool. But we don't want to be saying the same things over and over to the same people over and over.
Correct.
And that,
But
and
I will
that's
be,
what
I
we're
think
trying to
I'm gonna make it more of a point. As I started doing this podcast, originally doing this YouTube channel thing, I've made it very clear many, many times that it was sort of from a personal level to get over my fear of being in front of a camera,
Right.
to help with my speech a little bit. And now I'm at to the point where I think, you know what, maybe I want to do an audio version now. It's just do an audio. That's a lot easier, a lot less editing to be done.
Yeah.
I can record and put it right there on Anchor right away. I already recorded a commercial for it, so I felt pretty comfortable. Even though it took me like 25 takes to do it, I'm feeling more comfortable doing that. So I might start doing things more on an audio level, and it gives me a chance. I can do it right from my phone, wherever I'm at. Do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. Knock it out real quick while it's fresh on my mind, because a lot of times I'll send things off to Zan for Worlds Collide stuff and say, man, we need to talk about this. I'm really hot and heavy about this. By the time we get around to recording it, I'm like,
Right.
oh yeah, that I remember that. I'm just not in I'm not in that same frame of mind, man. I don't want to bitch about that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So now if I start doing more audio stuff for myself, I might be more inclined to kind of just do things when it's hot and heavy in my head.
Right.
So I'm going to give that a try, maybe knock out a few episodes here coming up. And so I suggest anybody who is interested in that kind of, check out the WTC Spotify channel. Just go to Anchor if you need to. I mean, anywhere you're going to actually get stream your podcast streams. I'm hoping it's all there. If it's not, please let me know. I'll see what I can do to get it put on that channel, on that streaming service. But or you can just listen to all the stuff we have here on the YouTube channel as well. But I think it's going to be less episodes on the YouTube channel, as I have guests. I'll obviously record that stuff and do that. But I think if I start getting some people who only want to just do it over the phone kind of thing, I can record that and put it on an audio version. I'm not. So I have things going on. I got to kind of balance my time better, because I have so much work to do for WTC stuff.
We should mention too, as you guys do on the podcast, that if there's anything for this show, the monthly recap, that people like or don't like, or would like us specifically to talk about,
please.
Like feedback is pretty important for Tony and Zan to get a sense as to, is this working out? Are we heading in the right direction? Because it's frustrating. We love doing this, but the last thing we want to do is start going backwards.
Yeah, well, last thing I want to do is make it a job. And
that job
usually
for us, but I'm also
means like getting paid.
Out there that I really appreciate, like, if someone's going to take 45 minutes, an hour out of their day to watch me talk about wrestling cards, I really appreciate it. I really
me too.
do.
I mean, I do too.
You've got better things to be doing than to look at my ugly mug talking about cards. But
yours and mine both, buddy.
That if there's anything in particular that you'd like to hear, by all means, let Tony know or let me know. And,
just shoot us a message, leave in the comments, however you want to do it. It's like that. I'm also not opposed to, having people go now and help. If you find that the content that we're creating, if you find that the website is useful to you, and you're like, hey, I'm kind of like Wikipedia, man. Just make a donation if you like. I mean, there's a donation button now that I have on the Twitter page that you can go up there and go right ahead. I mean, $1, 50, I don't care, whatever it is. It all gets used for the website anyways. I have so many tools that I want to use.
I sponsored Zan. He made the joke about the cup of coffee. So I'm like, all right, here's a cup of coffee every month. And I was, very small amount of money. Right.
Yeah.
But he appreciated it. And he said, you know what? I got a bunch of guys like you that do this, and it adds up. And it's like, no one's going to get rich off this stuff. But it's just to show that I appreciate it. Might not be able to watch and like and click on everything.
It'd be nice because, when you're paying for a service for a website that people don't understand, that they just think it's just a free website. It's not free.
Yeah.
When you want the bells and whistles and things like that, those things cost. And, it's been out of my pocket now every month for almost 20 years. Actually, when you count ComCollect, over 20 years.
Well, once you're fully updated, then you can do what I do and put the AdSense on.
Which I'm going to do.
I've never gotten any complaints, by the way, Tony. No one's ever said to me, oh, too bad you have all the advertising on your site, because again, it's only a few bucks a month, but that money helps me accumulate the cards, almost back into the hobby. I'm just buying more product to talk about, to archive.
Yeah, mine doesn't fuel me to buy anything other than to buy things that benefit the website. So as you know, using the WordPress website, everything that you want for bells and whistles comes in what's called plugins. And some of those plugins are free, but if you want the cool stuff, you got to pay for those. Those run anywhere from $25 to $100 a year to have those things. You want them.
Yes.
then you have the actual cost to run the website too. That's another, whatever it costs per year to run the website. So, I'm fortunate that I have some good pricing. I got someone who actually works on the GoDaddy side that's helped me, but it still costs money. And it'd just be nice to, if anybody's having some, is getting good use out of the site, any good use out of the content, I'm not going to be so ashamed to take a donation.
No.
Which is what I would do the Kevin
No,
Nash card for, was to give back to those.
That's why I did the AdSense stuff. It's like, you know what? Don't need them. I don't have to have this amount come in every month,
Sure.
but it helps,
It
and
does.
again, it's not a lot, but it's a little something. And if I can pay for a portion of a set per month, or pay for, my living set cards for the month, or whatever it might be,
Sure.
off of someone looking at the price guide, then why not?
Absolutely. So let everybody know where they can find your price guide stuff anyways. Where's that located?
The wrestling card price guide.
I mean, if you guys aren't using that site by now, I mean, come on, there's no hope.
Yeah, people know us. I mean, we keep telling everybody, WTC, Wrestling Card Price Guide, Card Foundation. I think the bulk of the hobby knows, and Zan, obviously, wrestling with cards. I think people know who we are, but we appreciate it. Want to wish everyone a happy new year. The Wrestling Card Price Guide. Don't forget the WCPG, and my Twitter handle, where I do most of my yakking, is card_guide. You, Tony?
Everything's at wrestlingtradingcards.com. Everything. So working on some new social media link type stuff on the site.
You've got that one site that lists all of your social media things. What's that called?
Yes, that's it's called Linktree.
Linktree, yeah, that's very handy too, because you can see Discord, you can see Instagram, you can see Facebook, you can see
that's
all
on
that.
Twitter. You go to the Twitter page. What seems to be the most popular place that wrestling card collectors seem to go to is on Twitter, in addition to Instagram. But I'm not on it as much. But Twitter seems to be the place to go. And so if you click on the Linktree link, there, it has everything you can possibly want to know about WTC and where to find everything that's going on with WTC. So. But again, I just refer everybody to the website because it has all the same thing. So everything is on WTC, and just kind of go there and enjoy it. Find any errors, any typos, anything needs to be added. Let us know. I got a lot of emails. I got a lot of stuff to catch up on.
Don't get cross with us if we make a mistake. Every so often there's going to be something I haven't touched in like 10 years, and the number is going to be wrong.
Yeah.
And I know it's wrong. And if you let me know, I'll fix it that day for you. But take it all with a grain of salt. We're here to give the information as best we can, as consistently as we can, as often as we can. But it takes time to stay, talking about WTC getting updated. Hopefully by this time next year, you'll have all the images, you'll have all the videos, and you'll be up to date. Maybe not. Maybe not.
And maybe not. But it's.
I should mention Anthony Husker have his site. He's doing the same thing. He's banging away on getting his store.
Yep.
And he's still only at 2003. And I said, "Oh, dude, you got a long way to go yet."
Got a long way to go.
And that, folks, as well, huskerhav.com. Anthony sells wrestling cards for those that don't know about him.
You can also go visit both Paul's and my site too. On the links page, there's links to his site as well. So I always refer everybody to the website. We try to do our best, both of us, to kind of cultivate all of that information into one place, so you can kind of go and say, hey, this is where I can go to buy, this is where I can go to do this, to discuss, and we have all that stuff on our site. So trying to be the hub for everything you guys need for wrestling trading cards.
The bar.
There you go, buddy. Well,
thank you,
everybody had a good holiday.
Everyone.
Good holiday. Happy New Year, everybody. And with that, I'm going to say that we are out, sir.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2022.
2022 it is.